What you're looking at right here is the brand new Fitbit Charge 4, which now has onboard GPS, NFC for payments, Spotify controls, and many more features to make this easily my all-time favorite fitness tracker for those reasons and many more. Now, the Fitbit Charge 3 was already very powerful and a lot of people really liked it. And I think what they did here is they added all the right features to make this really compete with almost some smartwatches out there. And for people that had a Pebble back in the day, they might be looking for a replacement. This very well could be your next replacement to the old Pebble. Now, with that being said, guys, what I really like about the Fitbit Charge series is that they don't claim to do more than they can. A lot of smartwatches and fitness trackers try to add a lot of features and kind of half-ass all of them, whereas Fitbit right here adds only the ones that you really pretty much need and are going to want, and they do them absolutely perfectly. So I've been really struggling to find really any drawbacks with this watch at all, but there's definitely a lot to talk about. There are some drawbacks, but for the most part, I want to go through a physical tour of this device. I'll give you an interface tour, show you what you're able to do, talk about what's new on this device, and of course we'll go through the app as well before going into some tests on this to see how accurate the heart rate sensor is, the GPS, the sleep tracking, the step count, and pretty much everything else I can test on this device. So clearly a lot to talk about. Let's get into the video. All right, so starting off with the physical tour of this device, when you open the box, you do have two different straps that it comes with. It gives you a longer one and a shorter one, so it should fit pretty much anyone's wrist. And what I really like about Fitbit is actually their proprietary like snap-on technology there. I like the material they used. It feels really good. The strap is relatively wide, but I think it has a really nice aesthetic to the overall band where it doesn't make it look as large as it actually is. So it doesn't feel very large when it's on your wrist. When you compare it to something like the Mi Band 4, it's clearly larger, but ultimately you don't notice it when it's on your wrist just because they did such a good job with the design. Now it does have a 1-inch screen right there. It's black and white, and by that I mean it's more like grayscale. If we look at the back, we do have a couple sensors right there. So we have our classic 2-diode heart rate sensor. Like I said, I'll test that out later on. And then we have our little blood oxygen sensor on the bottom or the top, depending on how you orient this. And of course, on the other side, we do have those 3 nodes. That's how we charge this. They have a little charger that just clips onto it, and so you can hang the Fitbit from an outlet or wherever it is. Now, otherwise, the band is pretty simple. One thing you'll notice is that it does not have any buttons on there. That's because this is waterproof. It's water rated for up to 5 atmospheres. So swimming with this, showering, washing your hands, you really shouldn't have any problems as long as you're not scuba diving. And instead of having a physical button, what they have, similar to the Charge 3, is they have this kind of touch-sensitive thing on the side. So there's no actuation, but there's still essentially a button there where you pinch the entire thing. You'll get some haptic feedback, so it vibrates a little bit to let you know that you did in fact pinch it. And that's how you'll either turn the watch on, turn the watch off if you do it again, or if you press and hold that, it actually opens up kind of a second menu there. Let's actually get into the interface now, and I want to show you guys what you can do with this device. Okay, so getting into an interface tour here, you'll see that if you just press the side button, like I said, you can turn it off or turn the face on. And you have just your watch face right there. There are different ones I'll show you in the app, but this one just shows me the time, my step count, some basic information. And if we swipe from the right, we can get into our different apps, our widgets on here. And there is a limited number of them. I'll show you them in the app on the phone. That you can actually decide which ones are showing up right here. But we have exercise right there. So if we go into exercise, you'll see we have about 6 different exercises we can do. So we have like swimming, running, treadmill, outdoor workout, and then I believe it's just a walk is the last one. If we press the side button, it goes back. If we go into Spotify, assuming you have Spotify Premium, you are able to control the song with this. So it shows you the song playing, the time. If we swipe over, we can go next or previous song. We can decide which device is playing on. So if we have like a smart home, you can play it on different speakers with this, or you can go and turn on shuffle right there as well on the top. I find that it's very impressive. You can't actually save music to this, and you obviously won't be able to connect earbuds to this either. So this is not really going to be a music standalone device when you're running, but it is nice you can control your songs with this if you're playing on earbuds and your phone is somewhere else, or if it's in your pocket. I do like having that feature. As we go over, we have agenda right there. We have relax, which is kind of a guided breathing right there if your stress is pretty high. As we go over, we have timers, we have alarms from Fitbit. We also have weather right here, so they'll show you what the weather is in your area. And of course, settings right here. You can change the brightness. They do have auto brightness on here. I think that is really, really nice to have. Vibrations, you can have normal. The haptic feedback on this, or the vibration motor, is actually really strong. I think that it does a great job for alarms or for notifications as well. You can see your heart rate right there. You can turn it on or off. Off obviously would save some more battery life. We can turn do not disturb on or off and enable or disable sleep mode there. The heart rate zones alert right there means that if your heart rate gets too high, it can give you alerts and let you know that maybe you need to calm down a little bit. And then if we go back to home, you are actually, so keep tapping that until we get back to home. We can actually swipe down from the top and you'll see your notifications right there. There are quick replies, so if you have a text message on Android, you can say yes or no or whatever short quick replies you set in the app. On top of that, you can accept or reject phone calls from here, and you can reply to like emails and a couple other things as well. Then if we swipe down from the watch face, you'll see your battery percentage. This is supposed to last 7 days. I've been getting actually exactly 7 days with normal use, but if I am using GPS, it is a little bit less. So depending on how long I run every day, it ends up being about 4 days before I have to charge it again, assuming I use GPS on this. Currently, it does not support connected GPS, so if you're running with your phone, it just uses the GPS on this device. Eventually, they said that they will release an update where it can toggle between GPS on this device or GPS on your phone to save battery life. That is going to be very nice because if you have GPS on full time and you're just on a nonstop run with this, the GPS or the battery should last about 5 hours. So not the longest, but honestly, I never really run for 5 hours anyway. So as we go down from the watch face right there, we do also have the step count for the day. They tell you how many hours you moved, like 250 steps or something. They have something new, kind of like move minutes. I assume that's because they're assimilating with Google. Then we have your heart rate right there. They have how far you walked in the day, and calories and staircases, how good your sleep was, how long you slept. So a lot of health stats just really accessible on this device right here. So that's essentially the entire interface. Like I said, if you tap and hold this, you can get some extra things. So you can get like the Fitbit Pay right there. You'll be swiping up and down to type in your PIN that you have, or we can go back and you can go into some quick settings right here. Turn on Do Not Disturb, sleep mode, or the screen wake by tilting to wake, like when you pick your wrist up. Now you might notice that this doesn't have a quick setting for a water mode. I thought that may be an issue at first, but honestly it really wasn't. I found that when I was showering, I had no accidental touches, so I'm not sure exactly what they did with this screen, but it did a great job performing in the shower, so it didn't actually have any problem with accidental touches. Hey guys, a quick aside, if you're new here and have not yet subscribed, but you're interested in the latest tech videos like this one, consider going down and clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. Okay, so to test this out, I'll be going for a run with the Fitbit Charge 4 on my left wrist, and on my right wrist, we'll be looking at the Suunto 7. So we'll be testing this out for heart rate and for GPS. Okay, so it's hard to see. It's not actually flashing, that's just the camera, but we can see our heart rate right there when we're going for a run. And as we swipe over, we get calories. Swiping again, we're getting how many steps we took, the time of day that is, how far we've gone so far. And I believe that's all we're seeing. Oh, and then we also see the zone minutes, the pace, the average pace, the heart rate, and we're back to the top with that. Okay, so looking at the analytics from that run, you can see the GPS was not perfect. I was running on that green trail right there, so it shows me actually running in the creek for some amount of time and then cutting the corner short by Stenton Avenue over there. If we look at the Suunto 7 right here, you can see that was a little better on the main path, but definitely also got confused over there. So it could have just been a weak signal over in that area by the bridge right there. But otherwise, if we go through this, you can see heart zone. So it'll show you a heat map of where you ran versus how hard you were working. And then likewise, it can show you the pace. So the reason it's streaky on the way back is because I was actually running intervals on the way back. So if we go to splits, this will just show you your relative time. You can see the elevation gain and loss right here. We can go to the heart rate, and again, this is actually where I really start to see a difference here. So it shows you the active zone minutes you ran, which for the most part I think was pretty accurate. It would vibrate on my wrist and let me know when I was in an active zone. So it'd say I entered like the cardio zone or the peak zone. So if we look at the Suunto 7 here and compare that to the graph of the Fitbit, you can see in the beginning, they both started off climbing very similarly. They both had a dip at maybe like the 1.5 minute mark when I was crossing a bridge right there. There was some traffic, so I had to slow down. And then I started running a lot faster, so it jumped back up, but a little bit different at the pace at which it jumped back up. But for the most part, you'll see that they did a similar job here, except when I got to the intervals at the end. So the intervals were not really captured very well by the Fitbit, and I was doing total sprint intervals where I was sprinting for like 30-ish seconds, and then I was going to a complete walk. So you can see that very clearly on the Suunto 7 right here, but the Fitbit kind of struggled with that. Now that could have just been the way I was wearing it on my wrist, maybe it was the wrong part of my wrist, or just there's a lot of subtle things that could really change it when you're using an optical heart rate sensor. But the important thing is that the average overall was pretty accurate. So if we look right here at the Suunto 7, it says that the max heart rate was 196 and the average was 163, whereas on the Fitbit it says it was 196 max, 157 average, so it looked pretty good. As we go over to energy, it shows you how many calories you burned, the impact it had on your day, so I got 34 active zone minutes right there, and you can compare it to recent runs as well. All right, so now let's take a look at the Fitbit app right here, and this is where you really start to get a lot of the full power of buying this Fitbit. So I didn't mention before the price of this. This is $150, which some may say is very expensive because it definitely is a more premium fitness tracking band. But at the same time, you're getting some excellent software on your phone right here, some great fitness tracking, and of course, you also have an excellent fitness band here. Looking at the app right here, it shows you a lot of data right there. I think it's pretty digestible. So it shows you at the very top your sleep score, and I do like how they show it as a digestible score right there. So 82, it's on a scale of 0 to 100, means, 80 to 100 is a good sleep. So I, slept very well last night, and actually because I'm a Fitbit Premium member now, you can actually go in and see some more stuff about your score. So they'll break it down, not just how well you slept, but also they'll show you your heart rate zones and your blood oxygen, which doesn't necessarily mean you have sleep apnea events, but it can suggest if you have higher variation in there. So right here where it says restoration, they'll show you your breathing. And as we go down, this graph right here, the estimated oxygen variation, again, it is just estimated here, but they can show you like, hey, if you have a lot of spikes, you may have a problem with sleep apnea. And I like how they go deeper into the analytics here than some of the other devices I've used that just kind of tell you like, yep, good sleep or bad sleep. Because now you can actually say, hey, maybe I spent 9% of the time tossing and turning. Maybe I'm just not comfortable. Maybe it's too hot in the room. Maybe I have sleep apnea. You can really start to figure out why you're not sleeping well with this. As we go down, you can see just some really quick, just moments right there. They tell you how many steps you took today, some basic analytics like that, your heart rate, how many hours in the day you had 250 steps. And of course, you can change that goal as well. And that's pretty much everything they show you right there. You can go through different days as well if you want to do that. Across the bottom, we have Discover right there. We have Community, and we have COVID-19. Unfortunately, right now, depending on when you're watching this, it may not be relevant. But you do have some cool things. So you can see like in the Discover thing, they'll have some little blogs, some little workouts you can try doing. And then besides that, you can see at the top, if we go up and tap on my icon right there, you have my Fitbit Premium account. But if we go into the Charge 4, that's this device right here, obviously, you can really kind of make some changes to the device from your app on their phone right here. So you can change the clock faces right there. As I mentioned before, you can go and choose from a handful of that they have. They have probably 15 or 20. Then we can go to the apps. Like I mentioned before as well, we don't have really third-party apps. All you have is if you go to all apps, they have 7 or 8 different apps you can choose from. So they have Spotify, they've got weather, things like that. Then we have wallet right there. And I found that about half of my credit cards were not accepted for the wallet right there. It's just something that currently they're not set up with all the banks out there. Then what I really like is if you go down to notifications, you can decide which notifications you get on the watch. Right now, I have all of my notifications. Anything that pops up on my phone will show up on the watch. And you can also adjust your quick replies right here. I really do like this app. Before I said maybe I didn't like it as much, but now that I've upgraded the Fitbit Premium, I really like the analytics I can get, especially on sleep. So now let's get into a little bit of testing to see how good these sensors actually work. Okay, so getting into the pros and cons, the first con is that you don't have a ton of workouts to choose from. You have maybe 6 or 7 workouts on this watch. Admittedly, those are the ones that I typically do anyway, but it's not going to be like Suunto where you can select paragliding and something crazy like that. Now, the second con, obviously it is a black and white screen. I do wish you could have color on here, but considering that the battery lasts as long as it does, I really can't complain. And then really the only other con, the third one that I have, is that you can't necessarily get a lot of apps on here. Now, it is a fitness tracking band. I don't expect to get apps, but at $150, you could spend just a little bit more and get a pretty low-end smartwatch, or even a medium smartwatch for that matter, and you could be getting third-party apps like Strava and apps like that. So it's just very small drawbacks like that, but for the most part, functionally, the way this watch works, I would say it really gets 5 stars. I think it's an excellent device. I think that it does a great job. It's very comfortable. The sensors are pretty accurate. The app is obviously one of the best parts about having this. And I definitely recommend if you're going to buy this, take the time to upgrade to Fitbit Premium, at least try it out. I mean, this is not an affiliate link in any way. I'm not promoting them, but I'm just saying I tried it. It's like 90 days for free, and I really like the extra insights you get, the coaching you get, and I just think that's a really useful way to kind of optimize your experience with this Fitbit. So overall, guys, like I said, I definitely recommend this. It's by far the best fitness tracking band on the market right now. A little bit more expensive, yes, but if you can afford it, it really pays for itself, I think, in how much better you're going to feel and when you're able to track your fitness like this. So comment down below and let me know what you think of the Fitbit Charge 4. Will you be buying it or not, and why? As always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.